Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is Florida man himself, Josh Finney.
Oh my God, Corey, it's such a fucking busy week. It's such a busy week. Oh my Lord.
It's only Monday, Josh.
Not even that. Just like our last show of the year, and it's so packed.
Oh, I know.
I don't think any of us predicted it was going to be this packed, but here we are. And really, only two real things happened.
I know.
Over the last couple weeks. It's we had the Game Awards. We had Grand Theft Auto 6 announced.
Yeah.
And leaked and announced.
Yeah.
And Phil Spencer made some very interesting comments at a forum in Brazil about the Xbox mobile store coming in the future. Did you see this?
I did see that. I heard they've been working on it for a while, I heard.
They've been working on it for a while. From what... oh my God, I don't want to misattribute this. I want to say it was Tom Warren at The Verge was talking about it and said that he had heard that they wanted to launch it in 2024. That was before like the Activision Blizzard deal took forever to close. Yeah. So I wasn't sure if that was like still, or they wanted to launch it like this year or something. I don't know. It was sometime like recently they wanted to launch it. And I was just talking with our friend Joe. I was like, man, do you realize like what a mobile suite by Microsoft looks like, just of their own stuff and of two partnerships that they have with Epic and Riot? Do you realize what a mobile, and especially in light of a ruling that just came down right before we started recording about Google v. Epic, and Google lost, the Google Play Store and Google Play Pay Shop or whatever it is have been found to be an unfair monopoly. This very well could be turning mobile stores on their heads. At the very least, it's turning it on like 50% of the market, right?
Yeah.
So that's Phil Spencer has got to be somewhere just like with a gigantic smile and pouring himself a stiff drink tonight.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I'm glad Epic wasted all that money and not us.
Well, I mean, they openly supported Epic in an exchange because remember Epic versus Apple a couple of years ago. That was when we found out about the timed exclusivity arrangements for things like Stalker 2 and a few others, like the length of some of those deals. We got a peek behind the curtain. That was when we found out that PlayStation wanted a bigger cut of the pie too on certain things.
Yeah.
And of course, none of that went over well.
Nope.
And now I had completely forgotten the Google case was still going on, if we're being frank.
Yeah. But that's nobody cares about Google Play. You Android users.
Well, I mean, but that changes things completely for the Android market. So I'm very curious to see what a competing app store could look like on these platforms.
Yeah. I hope it's not as no offense to Xbox. I hope it's not as bad as the Xbox Assistant on Windows.
Oh my God. Or like the fucking Windows Store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope it's not like that, but oh man, before we jump into to all the excitement and some of the critiques we got to do, Corey, what have you been playing? I'm going to ask you this week. What have you been playing?
Oh man, Josh, let me tell you. So I don't remember if on the last show or not I had my new TV yet, Josh, but I definitely played a ton of stuff on the new TV. I played some Halo. I actually played some Halo multiplayer. And guess what, Josh?
I love Halo
Did you know that Halo multiplayer is very good?
I did know Halo multiplayer is very good. I'm very excited to play some Firefight over the break. Very excited for that.
Yes. Oh, so good, man. It's so good. I also played some Disney Dreamlight Valley.
That does not surprise me. This is not surprising.
Nope. Because a Rift in Time came out, Josh.
Oh God.
The expansion.
I hate you so much.
Jafar's the villain.
God.
Come on, you love it. I played some Destiny, and then I've been playing Pikmin 4 a lot recently, actually, because I just kind of got the full version like a week ago.
Yeah.
So it's very good.
Oh man, I finally sat down and started playing Cocoon.
Huh?
I really like Cocoon. It's really weird. But it's I think it's a really fun game that uses the environment really well. I'm probably like 40% of the way through it. actually a little surprised at how far into the game I am. It's a relatively short game. You could probably finish that game in like 5 or 6 hours. Same with Jusant. I don't know if I talked about it in the last show. I've been playing Jusant. Both of these games coming in, I mean, God, coming in swinging at the end of the year to make my top 10. They're both pretty strong. I would say Cocoon is probably on there. Jusant is like on the cusp. Been really enjoying those. I'm gonna fire up Sea of Stars this week.
Ooh.
But outside of the normal Destiny shenanigans, I have played a lot of Fortnite because not only did a new Fortnite season drop, but Corey, 3 brand new modes dropped. Fortnite Racing, Lego Fortnite, which is taking the world by storm right now, and Fortnite Festival. And all 3 of these modes are really cool and feel really good. They just have really gross monetization around them.
Jogging.
Oh man, it's rough. The monetization is rough, but I think all of these modes are really cool. They've clarified that all of these are permanent. That does scare me for the future of the Rock Band series, because I don't know if you notice, Harmonix is still making songs for Rock Band. All these years later, they still put out new songs every Friday.
Yep.
That really concerns me for the future of Rock Band. Especially that Epic came out. So the mode launched on Saturday. By Sunday morning, they had made an announcement saying that starting next year, they're going to support the Rock Band peripherals in Fortnite Festival.
Ooh, interesting.
So the only way that I'm like cool with this is if they let me play my old Rock Band songs in there. I think that would actually be like really cool. Let me use them in both games.
Yeah, I wonder how that works with that. Like, since they were acquired after that contract, I wonder how that works.
I don't know, but I mean, like, Epic has kept them going. So, like, because it's been a couple of years now.
Yeah, well, I mean, they probably had that formula down so down pat that like it probably hardly costs them anything to whip a song up into one of those, to put it.
I mean, the licensing has always been the thing, right?
Right.
So I'm curious to see how far they go with this. I think Fortnite Festival's unique approach is cool. Like, they have 6 or 7 songs that will rotate out at daily reset, or at the item shop reset every night. Excuse me, it's not daily reset; it's the item shop reset at night. And those are the songs that you can choose from if you don't own any songs that you can like squad up and play with your friends or with randos. I think that's a really neat approach to where like they can basically be like, oh yeah, we only have to pay for these songs for the licensing to be in here for this. And then like, oh, we can just rotate them through the item shop for you to buy. So I think that's interesting that you're not forcing somebody to buy a base game like past Rock Band or Guitar Hero games where like you might only like maybe 40% of the songs on there.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like as they became more and more like pop oriented as the series went on. I do think that's a really cool audience for this though. But it really does feel like this is probably meant to replace Rock Band eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I would be very sad if Harmonix got reduced to only making stuff within Fortnite. But like Epic has said, like, this is not the end. There's a rumor that there's going to be sports games coming to it.
Yeah.
That look very much in the vein of like NBA Street.
Oh my gosh, dude. If they release NBA Street, oh man.
Well, because like I was talking about this with our friend Ray, and I says, like, the only league that you're really going to have trouble with is that has an exclusivity contract is the NFL. So like if they were to do a football game, you probably can't have Patrick Mahomes and other players running around in there, but you could have like fucking Batman throwing a hook and ladder to, I don't know, Cyclops or somebody.
Well, that's funny you say that because that contract, when they renewed it, actually changed a little bit. It's only it's only sim NFL games that EA owns now. You can make an arcade football game.
Interesting. Okay, so I was completely unaware of this.
Yeah.
I am very curious to see how that pans out for them then, because like LeBron's already in it. There's no clause around that or around soccer. So like you could use him and like I don't think Messi is a skin. You can use Neymar and whatnot. Mm-hmm. That's actually really intriguing, I think. I, for one, look forward to seeing All Might dunking on LeBron James.
In-season tournament MVP, Josh.
My God, I couldn't believe that people are actually trying to use that as reasoning that he is better than that he's better than Michael Jordan. I mean, there is evidence. I don't think that that's one of them.
Did you see that? Did you see that meme going around, by the way? Because I guess Bronny scored like 4 points in his debut, and he's like, Bronny's outscored his father in college basketball.
I thought that was so stupid. I was like, what on earth am I looking at here?
Oh man, good times.
Yeah, that's what I've been playing. So
nice. Oh man, I have so many games on my list to play on break. Like I want to play Remnant 2.
I have Remnant 2 installed. I'm hoping that next week is just Remnant week, leading up to Christmas, because that's like really the last big game of the year game I'm going to get to before I do a game of the year stream the week after Christmas. I unfortunately will not be able to get despite Baldur's Gate 3 coming to Xbox, I will not be able to get to. It's more of a monetary issue at this point. I'll not be able to get to that or to Alan Wake 2 before Christmas, which is a bummer. I've really been wanting to play both of these games for months now, and just circumstances are dictating that I won't be able to, unfortunately. So there'll be a big ol' asterisk, but I am hoping that by the time we come back for our game of the year on this show and on Tower Casuals, that I can say that I have played both of those. That's my goal.
Nice.
Should we just get into?
Dude, there's so much. We should let's just rip it wide open.
Let's start. Let's. I know it's not in order on our run of show here, but let's just jump into the Game Awards. That's the big topic. That's what people are here for, right?
I assume so. I don't know what else they're here for. I mean,
I don't know if it's for us.
It's definitely not for us. All right, Josh. I think the big one, the big. Do we want to do the announcements first, or do we want to do awards first?
Let's do awards, and let's do the show first. Let's get the ugly out of the way.
All right. So Xbox won 3 awards at the Game Awards. They won Forza Motorsport won 2 awards: Innovation and Accessibility and Best Sports/Racing Game. And then Hi-Fi Rush won Best Audio Design. So those were
Hi-Fi Rush is so good.
Those were the awards that Xbox won in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, sure. I mean, Forza really has no competition in best sports or racing game.
Yeah, I mean, when your competition is Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged and the Crew Motorfest, I feel pretty confident that that's a layup.
I forgot the Crew even came out this year.
Innovation and accessibility. So The Verge had a really good piece on Forza's accessibility efforts. We all know Forza Horizon 5 won it a few years ago. They had that mode where you could have people in sign language telling you like doing the dialogue, which was really cool. We were like, this isn't a racing game. I personally would have. I mean, Microsoft technically gets the award here, even though they didn't make the game. I would have given it to Diablo personally.
Yeah.
For me, it's Diablo. I'm really surprised Jasant was not nominated here, with how accessible they make the climbing mechanic, because it's actually supposed to be like an uncomfortable mechanic, and they make it to where, you just need a thumbstick and a button press. That's all you need. You don't have to hold anything down, nothing. So I personally would have gone Diablo 4 here, but hey, Forza, pretty well earned. Audio design, I'm really happy. I feel like people sat down and said, we gotta give Hi-Fi Rush something. Because you look at what it went up against. It went up against Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Spider-Man 2, and RE4. I probably would have said Dead Space was going to win this.
Yeah.
But, man, Hi-Fi Rush, they were so happy to get up there, too. John Johannes was so happy to be there.
I know. I'm just happy Hi-Fi Rush won something, just because A, it came out in January, and B, it was such a small project, right? That like it could have gotten over in a year where there was 35 great games that came out. Like it could have easily gotten overlooked for anything, right?
It actually received 5 nominations, believe it or not. Only 1 less than Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of crazy to me for a game that was not nominated for Game of the Year. It got nominated for as well in accessibility. It went up for where is it? I completely lost where best action game, which I personally think it had a really good shot at winning here. But I mean, FromSoft was not going to lose this category realistically. I think it really came down to Hi-Fi and Armored Core. I don't think enough people played Remnant for it to win, unfortunately.
See, I would have said that about Armored Core. I would have said not enough people played Armored Core, except for the fact
it's
that
a FromSoft game. It's a FromSoft game. It's a critical darling of a franchise. I don't know, but there were a couple of others that it got nominated for: best score in music, best audio design, art direction. So yeah, man, really, like, hats off to Tango. If you've read anything about Hi-Fi Rush's development, it really is like the surprise success story of the year. A studio that, traditionally a horror studio, Shinji Mikami studio, for God's sake, puts out 2 Evil Within games, makes this in tandem with Tango, or not with Ghostwire Tokyo, not Tango Ghostwire. And then basically Shinji Mikami, he did an interview alluding to this game that people really uncovered after the game came out. They did last year, and he said the next game we do is going to be totally opposite of what Evil Within is, and nobody expected this. But that he personally had signed off on it and said he wanted more games like this to come out of Tango. He wanted to defy expectations, and that's something that we've talked about that like a lot of Xbox studios are doing. This just happened to fit in with Xbox's plans. Like, you look at Obsidian, I don't think any of us would have pegged Obsidian, 4 or 5 years ago as making Grounded or making Pentiment. And, here they are. So really, really excited to see what comes next from them. I hope their next big game isn't too far off, but anything that John Johannes is attached to, I'm going to be playing.
Right. Yeah, that's a good win for them. I'm glad they won something. Hi-Fi Rush deserves all the praise. That's another game I actually need to finish. I got like halfway through, and then I got distracted by, Fire Emblem and Hogwarts Legacy and everything else that came out the rest of the year.
The everything.
Yeah. 2023. I got distracted by 2023, Josh. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
But
man,
it's a hard year to keep up.
It's been a very hard year to keep up this year. But were there any awards that like jumped out to you? I mean, big awards. Baldur's Gate 3 takes Game of the Year. Alan Wake takes Game Direction, as well as Narrative and Art Direction. Almost did a clean sweep of the big 4 categories.
Yeah. I mean, Alan Wake won a lot. I was kind of surprised at how much it won. But also, like, Sam Lake's suit is amazing, and I'm not a huge fan of Alan Wake. I didn't really care for the first one. I didn't play the second one, but like, I really appreciate Sam Lake during the awards. He really had, like, he was emotional, man. It was really,
Sam he's one of the good guys in video games. I think anybody who's ever, like, if you followed Remedy since their inception, I mean, Sam was the original model for Max Payne.
Yeah.
And like the fact that he's been so important to this studio for so long.
Right.
And like we say it all the time, but like it really does feel like this studio gets better with every game.
Yeah.
This is kind of the pinnacle of like, cause Control was really like the big whoa, like where did Remedy come from?
Yeah. Even though you and I both I liked Quantum Break.
I love Control, but I do consider Quantum Break to be the best overall game up until now that they have made. I say that with an asterisk. I've not played Alan Wake 2 yet, but they really have gotten better with each game, I feel, over the years. I've long loved the original Alan Wake. I love Quantum Break. 2 of the most underrated Xbox exclusives ever. I'm really happy we seem to be going back to that like style of underrated, underappreciated like AAA game with Xbox.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that Remedy is finally getting their due. And I do think part of that is by going multi-platform.
Yeah.
Alan Wake and Quantum Break, of course, were exclusives to the 360 and the Xbox One, respectfully. When the Xbox One got announced, Quantum Break was one of the 2 games that was announced alongside it. It had a huge starring role. Like, that's how close these 2 companies were. We all remember the story of how Microsoft gave them back the Alan Wake IP for free in the lead up to Control. and just said, "Here, take it. We're not doing anything with it." Like as a show of, gesture of goodwill, and like they still enjoy a really good working relationship between the two companies.
Yeah, except for except for Remedy doesn't really care for the Series S, but that's a different story, I guess.
I mean, I don't think it's that they necessarily care for it. It's that like Remedy games are already janky enough on high-end hardware. It's that like the way that they make games, they really can't develop them with the Series S in mind.
Yeah.
So, let's see. There was one other one I wanted to call. Neil Newbon winning for best performance in Baldur's Gate 3, really well deserved. I don't think you could have gone wrong with any of the nominees there, personally.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Score and music going to Final Fantasy 16. If you played any of the icon fights, this is totally deserved.
Yeah.
The biggest surprise of the night for me was Tears of the Kingdom only takes one award.
I know. I was about to say the same thing.
This is a year that I think that most of us going into this year had it penciled in that was going to win everything.
Yeah. I mean, in May, we all kind of assumed that, Tears of the Kingdom is just going to win everything. And then the rest of the year happened. And I kind of forgot Tears of the Kingdom came out, to be honest.
People are going to be really mad when I'm doing a Game of the Year stream the week after Christmas. I have solidified unless I'm able to get to Alan Wake or Baldur's Gate before then, and unless Remnant completely blows me away, I've got my top 10 tentatively written.
Yeah, I do too.
Tears of the Kingdom, I came into this year expecting to be either my Game of the Year or the runner-up. It is not in my top 5.
Yeah, I think it is number 5 for me,
which blows my mind because Breath of the Wild I consider to be the greatest game ever made, and like it's not a particularly close conversation.
Yeah, and that on that point, like I think that's why it didn't win a lot, is because it's just more of the same.
Yeah, it's more of the same, and it's a Zelda game for the Minecraft generation, which is fine. But I really did like that the producer. I never try to pronounce his name because I always get it wrong. Anumuna. Anuma.
Yeah.
Anuma. Came out and did an interview this week, right before or right after the Game Awards, and basically said like, we're not going to do another Zelda like this to follow up Tears. The story told in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is over. We kind of want to make a more linear Zelda again. And that was such a huge relief. I've infamously have not finished Tears of the Kingdom, despite Zelda being my favorite franchise ever, because I got so overwhelmed with the game. The overworld is enough, but then you add in the Sky Islands and the entire Underdark, and I simply could not do it.
Yeah.
There's also something about the blocking and parrying in this game that feels completely off to me, and I don't know if I'm alone in that. It feels much, much harder to do that than to dodge this time around.
Yeah, well, they said that the combat was meant to be harder this time.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. I was not a fan. This is the first time that I think I've ever played a Zelda game where I'm like, God damn, I wish there was an easy mode on this.
Yeah, the game was definitely much harder than it.
Yeah.
Usually, like, I mean,
after 70 hours, the fact that I was only halfway through the main quest made me go, yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, I put 84 hours in. I finished it, but I did not do hardly any of the side stuff.
And my problem is I get so distracted doing side shit all the time in big games. That's why they take me forever to finish. And I just like, I've spent 70 something hours in this Zelda game. I'm done.
Yeah.
And I haven't even done like half the shrines. I haven't even done half the story. I'm good.
Yeah. Let's see. The other game I want to shout out to, just because they are friends of the show, and
Honkai Star Rail.
Yes, Honkai Star Rail, definitely. No, the Tachia developers.
Yes,
they are. I'm really happy that won Games for Impact, because the story behind that whole studio and that whole game is pretty incredible, right? The whole game is kind of based off of where the developers are from, and the mythology around.
Yeah, it's from like Micronesia, essentially.
And so shout out to them. I've interviewed people from Kepler who published the game, and it's just Kim Chica's friend of show, and it's a great it's a great game. Hope it comes to Xbox at some point, but it's definitely, if you have a PlayStation, you should definitely check it out, or PC.
I would also shout out Venba in that category.
Yeah, Venba too. Very good.
Also on Xbox Game Pass, TM.
Yeah. Let's see. There was one other one I saw that I wanted to shout out at least. Esports Athlete of the Year.
Can we appreciate how quietly stacked best role playing game was this year.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, Starfield. I don't agree with Lies of P being in this category. I really feel like that's like a best action game nominee instead. But man, just what a fucking stacked list that is. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a good list.
Also, guys, play more like non-American games. Whoever votes for these.
Shuhei Yoshida sighting.
Yeah, we saw Shohei.
What did he what did he receive for best indie? No, he accepted the award for Tachia.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna save this for when we critique the show next. I'm gonna save my comment I was about to make.
Oh boy. Okay. Also shout out to Cocoon for best debut indie game. That game is incredible.
Did you see like the mini controversy that happened around that?
What, best indie game?
Yeah, like super fans of Pizza. Apparently, Pizza Tower has quite the devoted following.
Oh, I know. I hear
it's amazing. Review bombing it. Where they were review bombing Cocoon all over Steam.
Oh, jeez.
But you have to pay. You have to buy the game on Steam in order to be able to review it.
So they just sold like 100 million copies.
Yeah, like you fucking idiots.
Yeah, stupid. Thanks
really
for the
stupid.
money, guys.
Right. Well, if we don't have anything else, we want to shout out.
So I have one thing, like,
hit me.
Not that it's like a super big deal, but I'm kind of like, it kind of bothers me that Hogwarts Legacy wasn't nominated for anything, because that game to me was like really great in a lot of ways.
Here's my only problem with Hogwarts Legacy. I look at what categories it would be nominated in, and I simply don't know what you would bump out.
Oh, I don't know if it would have won anything. I'm shocked.
Well, I'm not even talking about winning. I'm talking about like not like, so it's an action adventure game. What are we bumping out of there? Because it's Tears of the Kingdom, Alan Wake, Spider-Man, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Jedi Survivor. I genuinely cannot bump any of those 5 games.
I mean, I would have bumped Resident Evil just because it's a remake.
That's part of the conversation that I think has to be had about around the Game Awards. There needs to be a remake remaster category at this point. There's just too many of them.
Granted, but are there ever enough to like fill a whole category?
I mean, you can definitely make the case this year that there were enough. You had Dead Space, you had Resident Evil 4, you had the Metroid Prime remaster, you had Super Mario RPG. You had 4. You can do a category with 4 nominees.
Yeah.
So I would make the argument that it's getting to be time to do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just going to be Capcom and Sony trading it back and forth. So who knows? Well, no, I shouldn't lie. Nintendo has like 6 of them on the docket for next year.
I know, at least.
So,
and that's
at least.
I would argue there's probably the last year of the Switch is going to be a remake remaster machine. I'm telling you, man.
God, dude.
There's going to be 75 Kirby games and about 15 remasters next year.
I'm so annoyed. I'm preemptively annoyed. I don't know where else I would put it in here. Like, you could maybe have nominated it for best score in music, but again, what are we bumping out of that category?
Yeah, I mean, I think let's see. Hold on. What's in the best art direction? What games are in best art direction?
Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Tears of the Kingdom, Lies of P, Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Okay, I could have bumped Zelda out of that just because it's the same. I would have bumped Zelda. Can
I devil's advocate here? It's not that I don't want Hogwarts Legacy to be nominated, but I understand that this has been my same argument. It's largely the same overworld. The gloom and especially the design of the Underdark is actually phenomenal. I can't. The characters look so much better this time around too. I can't do it. I can't do it, Corey.
I mean, that's fine. You can't do it. I can do it.
I cannot bump Zelda from this category. Not for an 8 out of 10 game.
Yeah. But that was kind of my only thing. Is like, I feel like even if it didn't win anything, I feel like that should have been nominated for something. But I don't.
I mean,
whatever.
I also think like you have to consider the reviews that like largely got across the board, which was like that. And it's not bad, but it's not like incredible. Like,
yeah, but some of the reviews I definitely feel like were skewed politically.
I mean,
especially the Wired one that gave it a 1 out of 10.
Well, so I think that's really silly, but I don't think that there's, and this is going to be a little controversial. I don't think it's like wrong to take that into consideration. I do think that you should be able to separate the developers from the person who created the universe, but that is like,
yeah,
she is so linked to this universe still, though, that it's like what we talk about with Bungie. Like, you have to bring up shit in context. And I think that, like, if you give Hogwarts Legacy, like, an 8 out of 10, like, that's fine. But, like, you need to notate somewhere in there, like, hey, we're giving this an 8 out of 10 because we really respect what the developers did here. But J.K. Rowling is a real piece of shit.
Like, yeah, but I don't think that has anything to do with the quality of the game. In my
opinion. I mean, she did still, like, create the world and do, like,
yeah, but she didn't make the game, is my opinion.
No, but J.K. Rowling has such unique control over the IP that, like, she still signed off on so much of this. Like, I don't know. We have two different views on this. And I think that's good. That's healthy. I just, like, from what I played of it, I wouldn't have put it on any of these categories personally. But that's more of a testament to how good this year is than how much I didn't like the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean,
like, in a record-breaking year, like, I think that, yeah, we had some really good IP games, but I think that when we talk about adapting an IP, Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man, and Jedi Survivor go above and beyond what Hogwarts Legacy did. What Hogwarts Legacy did would have been good for an IP game, like, around the time that Spider-Man 2018 came out.
Yeah.
In 2023, that's a lot harder of an argument.
Yeah, I also think, like, I didn't know Avalanche had them in it. It had this in them because, like,
I didn't either.
I mean, let's be honest, they're a good studio, but, like, the last 4 games they did before Hogwarts Legacy were Toy Story 3, Disney Infinity, Cars, and Cars 3 Driven to Win. They're not exactly quadruple A, $200 million budget.
I would argue you probably could have nominated this for Best Family Game.
I don't know. It's pretty violent, man. The second half of the game is pretty violent.
I didn't get to the second half of the game. Never mind then. Never mind.
Definitely not.
I tried Hogwarts Legacy. I tried. You heard Corey.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it.
No. All right. Well, let's get. We've talked about some of the good. Let's talk about some of the ugly, Corey.
Oh boy.
It's time to have a serious discussion about the Game Awards, like, as a whole, as an industry. I have long been a defender of Jeff Keighley.
Winter Game Fest.
Man, I've followed this dude's career since he was at G4 and, like, even kind of, like, before, probably. There was a time where you couldn't see coverage of things like E3 without seeing Jeff Keighley. And I think Jeff has been really good for the industry in a lot of ways. I think nobody loves video games more than this motherfucker. Nobody does. Like,
that's probably true.
This dude just loves breathing and eating the industry. And that's also a fault. Jeff says that he created the Game Awards to be gaming's biggest night. And he failed in every single aspect this year on that statement. We're going to talk about some of the hype reveals here in a few minutes. And, like, the reveals are maybe the best they've ever been. The production value of the show is probably the best it's ever been. The actual awards part of the show sucked. The fact that we crammed, 5 awards into, like, a 3-minute span in order to, and no acceptance speeches for any of these, by the way, in order to get to a Samsung phone commercial is bad. The fact that you played Neil Newbon off of the stage after 30 seconds when he was talking about how he almost quit acting before getting cast in Baldur's Gate 3 is embarrassing. You tried playing Sven Vicky off the stage after they were accepting Game of the Year. 30 seconds in, mind you, and they're in the middle of dedicating the award to their cinematics designer who passed away right after the game came out. Or right before. I don't remember, like, when it happened, but it was, like, right around the time the game came out. That's unacceptable. You don't reference any of the layoffs in the industry. and
it's
we know
because they're
why.
all paying him to be there.
I'm saying we all know why, but it's just bad. And then you keep having celebrities here, and I don't mind bigger names being here. That actually doesn't bother me. Just I wish they were people who gave a shit about being there, not the Al Pacino bullshit from last year. Anthony Mackie got like 3 minutes to get up there and say, "Go, hey," like do all this shit. Gonzo the Muppet is there. Nobody likes the Muppets as much as us, Corey, and even I was like, okay, it's why we have Gonzo on stage longer than we have women on stage. We have Gonzo on stage longer than people are being given to talk about like Sam Lake is up there crying real tears as they're getting these awards, and he's being played off the fucking stage. It's unacceptable. You cannot bill yourself as a gaming award show if you're going to do that. And I know Jeff has refuted it and this and that, but there's just so many other issues surrounding all of this that I can't help but feel that like this show would be better if you did it as a 2-day event. If you did the awards one night and then you did Winter Game Fest, like you said, the next day. I mean, I'm serious. No, my proposal was you do the game reveals on that Thursday. You do the show, you do the award show on a Friday night. And then that way you have Friday and Saturday open for the press to come and do winter play days like you did in the summer this year, which was a rousing success, by the way. And everyone praised Keighley for organizing that. Do that in the winter. Also, if you're really going to be about the best games of the year, you need to be doing your show in January and not in the first week of December, because you're missing 2 months of great games.
Yeah.
And that's especially disrespectful to smaller teams and indies that may not be able to release any other time in the year. That's fucking bullshit. Mm-hmm. We've seen in the past 4 years, we've seen 3 or 4 games that we really loved not get any sort of recognition because of when they were released.
I mean, I think it all started like with Far Cry 3. Remember that came out in December and it missed all the awards. Jedi Fallen Order missed.
Fallen Order is the one where my mind goes to. I think that's been the most public one.
Smash Brothers was also public at one point.
Smash Brothers still got nominated the following year, though.
Yeah, but everybody had already played it for a year and nobody voted for it because...
I mean, yeah, but like Jedi Survivor got completely forgotten, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you had Jedi Survivor, you have Smash, you had... It happened with Halo Infinite. God, remember, it was such a big deal with Halo Infinite. That's when they had to introduce player's voice.
Yeah.
And then... It happened with Pentiment last year also. This game comes out and it comes out the same day as nominations do. Josh Sawyer reveals that it wasn't eligible because they didn't send it out to press like 4 weeks early. And it's a game that comes out and gets like 10 out of 10s.
Right.
Like, and it's not eligible. And you know, he expressed some frustration this year because Jeff's response basically was, well, you can get nominated next year. And everybody forgot it didn't get nominated.
Yeah.
Also, I'd love to know what the criteria is for some of these awards, like Best Ongoing Game and Best Community Support. I'd really love to know what the criteria is there because, first of all, LOL Destiny 2. Mm-hmm. Second, like, I cannot abide with Cyberpunk being an ongoing game.
Yeah.
Because you took 3 years to fix your game and release an expansion does not mean you're an ongoing game.
Right.
Why is something like Sea of Thieves not being recognized?
Right.
Which was a complete catastrophe and is now one of the most played games on Game Pass, gets free content updates all the time. That's 2 huge free expansions.
I mean, the
Halo Infinite.
Sea of Thieves just got the Monkey Island DLC this year, right? I mean,
it got the Monkey Island DLC this year. It got the Safer Seas update.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the turnaround the Halo Infinite had this year in the public eye. Like, you can make an argument that both of those games should be there over, Cyberpunk and over Destiny 2, respectfully. Like, Keighley puts so much emphasis on wanting to be in the same league as movie stars. And dude, you have industry celebrities. Like, also, can we, like, while we're talking about industry celebrities, can we celebrate people like Sam Lake a little bit more and Hideo Kojima a little bit less? The mouth frothing that he was having with Kojima up there. Kojima got like 7 minutes to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Which was more than like most of the acceptance speeches combined.
Yeah.
For him and Jordan Peele just to basically get up there and be like, hey man, I fucking love you. like just back and forth, like to say nothing of substance.
Mm-hmm.
That was really aggravating to me. Like, I don't. I will admit, I thought the Chalamet bit was kind of funny. That he introduced him, but modded Xbox 360 controller.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny. But other than that, it's like Jeff's jokes suck. He really needs a joke writer. Like, seriously. The whole pre-show with Sydney, like, needs to stop. Stop putting awards in the goddamn pre-show.
right.
Like, I would honestly be cool if you did. I would be fine with a few reveals. I think people would be fine with reveals. Just put less emphasis on them. Have your pre-show be where most of the awards are. You know? And I understand, like, you feel like you have to do reveals in order to get viewership numbers up. Maybe don't give a fuck about the viewership numbers. The Oscars don't. Nobody tunes into the Oscars saying, I got to tune in for the Avengers trailer.
Yeah, but I think it's different for the Oscars because it's a televised thing.
It's respected.
Well, I think it's a televised thing, and that ad revenue is coming in regardless. Whereas the more views you get on Twitch and YouTube, the more money you're going to generate from that.
I guess.
And I think that's where the marketing stuff is different and the ad revenue is different. But I do agree that I actually disagree with you. I think all the awards should be in the award show. I don't think they should be part of the pre-show. I think maybe
that's what I said. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. I think some of the smaller games that are being revealed should be revealed in the pre-show. I still think there should be a time limit on speeches, but not 30 seconds. I think though maybe a minute or a minute and a half is long enough.
Yeah.
I also think everybody that's nominated should maybe be prepared just in case. But I think the two categories that deserve more time are Game of the Year for sure. And I think Games for Impact probably deserves a bigger award, like a bigger amount of time, allotted amount of time, and maybe like indie or best in like debut game or something maybe deserves a little bit more time.
I think that I think you hit the nail on the head. Best indie game for sure, for sure. Like this is going to be the best moment of some of these people's lives, right? For a small team making their first game.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they do continue to give a spotlight to innovation and accessibility, but I would have gladly sacrificed best adaptation to hear from some of the others, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, notice action adventure was the only one of like the best genres that we got up there. That's because it was Tears of the Kingdom's only win. Yeah. They blew through best action game, best RPG, best fighting game, best family game. Oh, excuse me. Doug Bowser got to accept best family game. And sim strategy. They blew through all of those.
Yeah.
In the name of getting to, that was when they were getting that infamous Samsung commercial.
Yeah.
We should not be getting Clash of Clans advertised at the Game Awards in 2023.
Yeah, some of the ads were pretty ridiculous.
I think that's the thing. I feel like it just feels cheap. You know, yeah. I don't mind reveals, but I think like, you know, in a 3-hour show, I don't think it's uncommon to say, hey, we need to be celebrating the year of games. I would appreciate some montages, you know, shown like other award shows do. I think we should see a montage of the games that are nominated for each category and be like, this is why, so people can see why they were nominated, you know?
Yeah.
Like so many people, like there's been a huge discussion about, you know, Spider-Man 2 should have won over Baldur's Gate 3. Buddy, I hate to tell you, like, it was never in the running. It was
a between, spot filler, to be honest.
It was between Baldur's Gate and Alan Wake 2 by the end, and like until Alan Wake came out, it was between Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
For I think most critics out there. And like we should be celebrating that a CRPG can win Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Like that. This is typically like best action game. This is actually maybe a huge turning point.
Yeah.
For like mainstream acceptance of video games. A D&D video game in 2023 is getting Game of the Year. Like that's huge. And it felt like that it wasn't being like appropriately treated as such. Also, like I'm really like over just like the celebrating of like content creators in general at this show.
Yeah, those should be in the pre-show, maybe.
Yeah, if you're gonna put shit in the pre-show, like the esports shit, absolutely can be in there.
Yeah,
that's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm actually really glad they moved content creator there. I don't need to hear a speech from content creator of the year.
Yeah.
I've got just nothing good to say.
Man, I'm like, my brain is fighting itself because, like, in my opinion, I think the Game Awards are actually too long.
They are.
And because, like, I mean, even with all of our complaints about some of this stuff, I mean, including the pre-show, it was over 4 hours, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know how you make it shorter. Do you have less categories? Do you have, you know, I don't know what you do unless you.
I don't think less categories is going to fix it because he just blows through them anyways.
Yeah, but I mean that's the point though. Like, have less categories if you're just going to blow through them, and like also, yeah, nobody really wants these ads or reveals or anything. But like, if you take those away, you know the awards are going to be in a 3-star Hilton conference room on a webcam. You know,
I don't necessarily think that. I think that Jeff is a guy who is so obsessed with numbers. Every time he does an event, he always tweets out how it's a record-breaking year. And like, dude, if you cared less about the amount of people who clicked on your Twitch stream for 2 minutes than you did about the actual awards, maybe we'd have something different. Like, and I know that won't happen until we watch shows that aren't backed by the industry. I would say for anybody frustrated, GDC and DICE both do award shows, and they do them after the first of the year. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And those really, I think, are more indicative of celebrating the industry as a whole. These are a popularity contest. Let's be told. This is like, I saw somebody break this down perfectly. Like, if you want something to be like the Oscars or like the Emmys of the industry, they need to promote DICE and GDC more. If you want the MTV Movie Awards or the Golden Globes, there's the Game Awards for you.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like Jeff just wants to do a super popular show, and he has successfully convinced a not insignificant part of the population that if something wins Game of the Year at his show, it's the only Game of the Year, and nothing else matters. The only opinion whose matters is yours, the player. But like, people are completely baffled now that something like Baldur's Gate has bucked the trend. I would have put money down that something like Tears of the Kingdom is going to win. Not that Tears of the Kingdom is not a fine game, but I would have put money down that the panels that vote on this, that the outlets who vote on this, would have gone for the safer choice. So I don't know. I guess I really hope that in the future we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
We can put on a more consistent show.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know how you fix it. Things need to change. The
subtlety was gone the minute Microsoft showed off a console in 2019. Let's be totally honest.
God, that was so cool though.
It was a cool moment. It's probably the best moment that's happened at any of these shows in terms of a reveal.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I would welcome more of these like interesting musical performances from these games that are like truly unique. I would love to hear music played from each of the games that's going to win best or is up for best music and best score, just like they do at the Oscars. I would love that, just like they perform best original song throughout the night. I would like to hear this orchestra play a selection of music from each of the games nominated throughout the night, and not just to play off the creators of said game.
Yeah.
So we did get to see the flute guy, and I mean, they did play music, and to be fair, I do believe they played music from each game over the Game of the Year montage. That should not be the only time that we're seeing a montage. Like, hire some editors. I can refer you to a few, Jeff. Like, seriously, like, if you really want this to be an award show, like, you had good production this year, you can make it better. You can actually have this award show taken seriously. But man, I like the reveals as much as anyone. It felt really gross this year, though, in a year when we've had so many people laid off. Like, for that to not even get a passing mention from a guy who champions himself for the industry, and I understand why he didn't, but that's inexcusable. He hadn't said anything on Twitter about it. He didn't acknowledge anything like maybe in the pre-show or at the top of the show. Like, you gotta do something. And also, like, I don't know how you come down on this one though. Just the last thing, I promise this is the last gripe I'm gonna have. I didn't particularly love Christopher Judge taking a dig at the Call of Duty devs. Yes, I thought it was a little funny, but at the same time, I was like, that's like really ticky tacky. I think, like, in a year when game developers are being yelled at more than ever before by the general public, you're fueling the fire at that point, even if you didn't intend for that. And I realize, like, he may not have even written that joke.
Yeah,
that very well may have been something scripted for him.
Yeah, I mean, I took it that way.
They showed developers in the audience, and they were just like jaws on the ground, like they were not laughing. Yeah. Like that's not fucking funny. Like, somebody still worked really hard to make that, whether you think it's too short or you think it's not good enough. Like, someone still worked hard on that.
I mean, they took a game that takes 3 to 4 years to make and made it in 15 months.
Well, and that's the thing. You targeted a game that has been well documented about how bad the production process on it was.
Yeah.
And it feels really cheap. A few Call of Duty devs spoke out about it and got immediately brigaded by the hate brigade. And had to, like, delete all their stuff. And I'm fucking tired of this. Gamers suck. Gamers are the worst. And you gave a platform, to, oh, hey, we can go mess with Sledgehammer over this. Like, who have now been hoed 2 or 3 times in a row by Activision, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. I'm going to get off my soapbox about how much I hate the Game Awards.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I really did. I mean, aside from what we were watching when we were recording Tower Casuals last week, I kind of I had it on the background, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. And it was more about the announcements for me than most of the awards, right? I mean, some of these awards, I just don't, like, here's the thing, Josh, is Best Family Game really a category that's worth having?
No, it's the Nintendo award.
So, like,
just call it Best Nintendo Game at that point, honestly.
I mean, I would rather them just do that, like Best Xbox Game, Best Nintendo Game, Best PlayStation Game at that point. Like,
I agree. I definitely don't disagree on that one.
So I don't know. I think there's some categories that could be cut. I think it should be better, but I am now talking in circles, so we should probably just move on.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. We did have a lot of good stuff come out of this, though. Let's be totally honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell by our Discord today which game you were excited for, Josh.
Oh man, I screamed. I screamed at a few different reveals here. Let's hit the big one here. Microsoft had a trio that they showed off here. We got an extensive new look. It's the first real look we've gotten in 2 years at Hellblade 2. And so help me God, Corey, they did not have a release date at the end of this trailer. It just said 2024.
I know.
And I felt defeated.
I know. I mean,
but how incredible does this game look?
Dude, I'm so excited. They showed combat finally.
Is this the best looking, like, in-engine graphics that you've ever seen?
By far. I think the closest. Now, granted, I want to see it in person on an Xbox Series X, and I know they said this was captured on a Series X, but like on a TV. But I think the closest maybe, and this is a hard maybe, Josh, that I could point to, would be something like Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, maybe. I would agree.
Maybe.
I would agree. I think right now it's Horizon. I need to see how this holds up at 60 frames.
Yeah. I love the way this looks. This is so realistic looking. Like, I mean, Senua looks just like Melina Juergens. Like, like it's indistinguishable, I think. This game looks incredible. I mean, I know it's going to be just a beefier version of the first game, and I don't know why anybody else is thinking anything different, in my opinion. But it still looks amazing. It looks incredible, man. I was thinking for sure like an April release date or something, but this tells me more like maybe like late summer, early fall, maybe like August.
I feel the opposite. I think that this is a mid-April launch.
Well, that's what I was thinking initially, but I think if it was coming in April, they would have dated it.
I don't think so. I think they want to save that for a developer direct. I think they want to be able to put a developer direct out because they saw how good this one did this year. I think they want to put another one out in January to be like, hey, we're kicking a year off. Here's an update on the projects you already know about for this year, and then just go bam, 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 bam on release dates. I think they want it all at their own show. Yeah. And I don't really blame them. Like they got criticized for not being here last year. This year we're all sitting here raising the pitchforks because we don't have a release date on this fucking game yet. We've seen it at 3 Game Awards now. I swear to God, Corey, the next time I see this game, it better be nominated for something.
Isn't it 4? Because we saw the initial reveal with the console.
Yep.
We saw the
2 years later. We got the full sequence.
The giant troll demo.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Well, last year we saw the water demo. Was that not at the Game Awards?
No, that was not at the Game Awards.
What was that at?
That was at the Showcase Extended. It was not at the Game Awards last year.
Okay.
They've adopted an every other year policy.
So I guess I thought that was at the Game Awards last year.
In before they delay it to 2025 to keep the streak alive.
Jeez, don't. Yeah, man, Hellblade looks great. I can't wait.
Hellblade looks great. I think it's gonna be a must play. I think a lot of people are gonna finally get that single player auteur style game that they're looking for. But speaking of auteurs, Corey,
yeah,
Project OD from Kojima is real.
Yeah, that game looked. I mean, the facial animations look great there too. At first I couldn't even tell. It was like
I couldn't either.
I mean it
took me reading a breakdown of it to understand that was actually not them.
What engine is that using?
I
don't think it would be Decima if
they cannot use Decima. I have no idea. Maybe Unreal 5.
Maybe.
I can't think of anything else that Kojima would be using at this point.
Yeah, and there were supposedly PT references in people's mouths when you watch them.
Yeah, in Udo Kier's mouth, there's some letters that reference PT. Well, the door he came out on stage looked like the PT door. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are thinking that this isn't going to be PT, but it's going to take a lot of the inspiration he had for PT.
Yeah, that seems...
which, if so, he may be about to create one of the greatest horror games of all time. I want to, before we circle back to see, he's doing this with Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele's one of the storytellers he's working with on this. We don't know who the others are yet. Mm-hmm. I would guarantee Guillermo del Toro is one of them.
Yeah.
They love just frothing at the mouth over each other. And there's a Kojima documentary coming out on Disney Plus.
Which is tomorrow? The most hilarious place to have a Kojima.
I think it's coming out tomorrow. Yeah, about the making of fucking Death Stranding, because that's what I think of when I watch Disney Plus. Is the Norman Reedus fetus game.
Yeah. With Monster Energy cans all over the place.
George Miller is one of the people that's interviewed in it, the director of Mad Max.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh god, like if you got George Miller like maybe consulting on this, like shit, this is gonna be pretty good. Mad Max Fury Road, one of my favorite movies of all time. But we're having this conversation about that, and Kojima has this great deal with Xbox. He's got this custom deal. We knew last summer that it was probably called Overdose because it leaked right before the Microsoft show, and so now I'm taking everything from that leak as gospel. That some form of this game was playable last year, mm-hmm. last summer. So that kind of heightens my belief that this is probably the Stadia game that he was working on in very early alpha.
Yeah.
I don't think we see this game before 2026. I'd be floored if this was out before maybe holiday 25, but they're so stacked in the next 2 years that I just don't know when you release this.
Plus, I'm sure Death Stranding 2 is quite a way through development. They want to get that out first.
Death Stranding 2, I believe, is going to be fall 24.
You think it'll be 24?
Yeah, when Kojima was at the Game Awards, I actually was like, oh, he's there to give the date for Death Stranding 2. That's how confident I am that game's coming out in the next 12 months.
Yeah. I need to play that first one still.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
See, I heard a lot of people liked it.
Do you like walking, Corey?
Sometimes.
Well, then do I have the game for you? You like walking with a weird fetus baby attached to you?
Maybe. Will it scratch my forehead when it's time for bed?
Jesus Christ.
Like my son did?
No.
Oh, man.
What? But and I want to put a pin in OD because we're going to circle back to it in just a second. Because we have to talk about our third reveal, which is Arcane Leon's next game is not Dishonored 3.
Nope, it's not.
It's Blade, and I'm so sorry to everybody who listens to Tower Casuals who heard my reaction in real time. I screeched so loudly.
I feel like I need to clip that out at this point and put it on social media.
I screeched so loudly. Oh my god, there were like borderline tears in my eyes.
Yeah, it was quite a moment.
Blade is maybe the most perfect superhero that team could ever tackle. Like I've gone on record in the past. In fact, when I reviewed Quantum Break for an old podcast that I used to do, was that I said that I would love to see Remedy or Arcane tackle a Daredevil game. I'm so happy that they're doing Blade. Like, talk about that brand synergy, right?
Yeah, they like vampires.
Man. Oh, not only that, I was referring to the fact that a Blade movie is in the works at Marvel. Cast Mahershala Ali. It's supposed to come out in fall 25. So I found that pretty interesting. They are claiming that this is pretty early in development still.
Mm-hmm.
How early, we don't know.
Well,
I take early in development to mean that you've had less than a year of real production. Like, you're out of pre, you've had less than a year of real production.
Yeah, when did Deathloop come out? 21?
September 2021.
Yeah.
3 years ago. Or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah, so I mean, this would probably be at least 2 years away.
Yeah, Pete Hines did take to social media after this. He no longer works at Bethesda, but he said, yeah, it was pitched while he was there, and he was like, they knocked the pitch out of the fucking park.
Yeah.
So, John Drake at Disney seems really excited for this.
Okay.
Man.
So, I have a question for you, Josh.
What's your question for me, Corey?
The internet seems to be rallying that this is not exclusive.
It's exclusive. I have a different theory around this game that I haven't seen anybody else talk about. And this actually leads me. I have to put a pin in this one with OD because we're going to circle back to both of these after I talk about this news story from today. Stephen Totilo over at Axios did an interview with the head of gaming at Disney, aka John Drake's boss.
Yeah,
and they were talking, and I want to pull this quote up because I want to make sure I get this exactly correct.
While you pull that quote up, can we just give a nod to John Drake and the Disney Games team for giving studios, for the most part, the right projects?
Just this year alone, you got Jedi Survivor, Spider-Man 2, Illusion Island, Dreamlight Valley, and the Tron game from Bithell Games.
Yeah, and Disney Speedstorm. Don't forget that gem.
Well, I don't know how Disney Speedstorm did, but all the others reviewed exceptionally well.
Yeah.
So, and they helped put out the Monkey Island expansion for CFDs because hilariously enough, they do own that.
I think the only half miss would be Avengers, and the single player for that was pretty good. So that would be my only kind of complaint at this point.
Oh my god, do I have to really pull this up?
Pull it up, Josh.
I thought I had this saved somewhere. Okay. So he talked with Sean Shoptaw, who's the head of gaming over at Disney. They covered a bunch of topics, and I'm going to put a pin in that whole article, and we'll talk about it when we get back from the break because it's just so much. But he specifically asked him about the speculation about them buying EA. He had a nugget in here about Indiana Jones, and I wanted to read this because it comes back to a philosophy I've been developing about Blade and OD over the last couple of days. The deal for Indiana Jones's exclusivity was renegotiated at Microsoft's request.
Yeah.
After the purchase. And Sean says that with Xbox still being one of the bigger marketplaces for games, we didn't feel like we were going to be overly exclusionary. We feel like it's still going to reach a broad set of folks, and we felt financially and strategically for the game that it made sense. So that is confirming that it is an Xbox and PC exclusive. Note, it does not say anything about Xbox Game Pass, and I know there's a quote floating around from Pete Hines from the FTC stuff saying that, oh yeah, it's going to be a day one Game Pass game. I could not find that particular quote. I looked, I could only find Xbox fan Twitter accounts that were retweeting that. That being said, it's very possible that he said it. I did not listen to the full thing, obviously. I could not get into the room. I read the reporting on it, though, and I feel like that would have been something that would have been reported pretty heavily rather than just, oh, yeah, it's exclusive.
Yeah.
Now, I understand why people jump to this conclusion, because Microsoft has established that every Xbox published game is going to be on Game Pass day one. I think that policy is close to being wrong. I think they're close to walking that policy back. And here's why. If you want to get games like Blade and Indiana Jones and OD on your platform, Disney and Kojima are going to have their own requirements. And I don't think it's going to be, hey, you can put this on there day one on Game Pass.
Right.
They want to see the money from those games.
Right. Microsoft would have to pay a pretty hefty price.
Microsoft cannot pay the price. I'm going to say that right now. They cannot pay that.
I would say maybe everything from Microsoft Game Studios will be on Game Pass day one moving forward. I don't know if anything from everything from Bethesda will be there.
Yeah, let me finish building out my theory here real fast.
Okay.
I think at first it's going to be these three. And I think the conversation Microsoft needs to have with this community sooner rather than later is, if you want these kind of auteur experiences and these kinds of IPs, we have to make some compromises somewhere. Now, I have long been a believer that Elder Scrolls 6 would be the first in-house game that would not come to Game Pass day one. That is simply too big of a property for Microsoft, I think, to sit here and say we are potentially losing $30 million in sales. 30 million units, by the way, not $30 million, 30 million units.
Yeah.
You look at how big Skyrim is. Skyrim has sold like 60 million lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think that you're cutting out PlayStation already. They're going to charge you for that game.
Mm-hmm.
I am also becoming a believer that Call of Duty, past next year's Call of Duty, may not be a day one Game Pass game.
Yeah.
I think rather what you're going to see is something like Call of Duty, maybe for the first 6 months is not on Game Pass, so they can get that money from the people who cannot wait, and then they put it on Game Pass and you support it for another 18 months. That would allow you to do the 2-year cycle, I think. Because then you're reinvigorating interest.
Yeah.
Something like Elder Scrolls, maybe you wait a year.
I would say, so I'm going to use Diablo as an example. I know it's not on Game Pass, but just stick with me here. Like when when the expansion comes out next year, maybe that's when Diablo goes on Game Pass. Or like when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, when that first DLC hits, maybe that's when it goes on Game Pass.
Yeah, we've seen that they want to keep making revenue, and I think that, you know, maybe the deal that they make with these guys is similar to how movies don't go to streaming right away. Like they have the theater window, then they have home video, then they have the streaming one window is what we're focusing on, right? And that's usually about 8 months after a theatrical release these days, if you're not directly controlling the property. Like if you're Disney, you're putting it on there 3 weeks after it goes to Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes you're waiting a couple of months like they did with Indy.
Yeah.
Barbie came out in July and it's just now coming to HBO Max, and that's still a much quicker window than it used to be. Like the Spider-Man movies take a lot longer historically, the live action ones do.
Mm-hmm.
And, the windows have become really, smushed in like smashing a sandwich down since, COVID kind of revolutionized how we think of streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you're going to see something similar with gaming, because I think Kojima's going to be like, hey, I'm fine with you bankrolling my project, but you're not putting this on Game Pass. Like, you got to remember, I'm an independent studio. I got to bankroll my next game. And I think that for Microsoft, that's a chance for them to prove themselves a worthy partner to him and to Disney, to be like, okay, especially with Disney, you've got two smaller properties with Indiana Jones and Blade, but that doesn't mean they want to consign those to be on Game Pass day one necessarily.
Right.
Those, I think, are prove it chances. You're not proven to be a huge moneymaker in single player games like Sony is with Spider-Man.
Right.
You know,
and
you had your chance. You had your chance 10 years ago, by the way.
Right.
And you said no. And it's public knowledge now that you said no.
Yeah.
So you got to prove yourself to us now.
Right. And if those don't come to Game Pass day one, like they can, if they don't,
you got to prove based purely on sales at that point.
Yeah. If they don't want to share this information of like, hey, we're going to backtrack on this a little bit, like they can always say like, look, we have to deal with Disney. You know, it'll come to Game Pass eventually, but not.
I don't even think you can say that. I genuinely think that because look how much that shot them in the foot when they did that with Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
When they were like, oh yeah, it's only going to be exclusive to us for a year. How many people waited until it came to PlayStation? Rather than that being something that you go out and buy for Xbox, or you buy an Xbox 4. That game reviewed phenomenally.
Oh, the game's amazing.
And people skipped it.
Amazing.
People skipped it because, oh, well, it's going to come to PlayStation in a year. Why do I need to buy an Xbox now?
Yeah. And PlayStation version came with all that DLC and the VR mode and everything.
Yep. So why on earth would, I think Phil Spencer has always said that game was a learning experience for them in how they negotiate with third parties. Mm-hmm. Because it was rumored they paid like $100 million for that to be exclusive. They never recouped that investment. Not even close. Mm-hmm. On top of that, they had them put it out on the 360, which is just insane.
That's so funny.
It's a dumbed down, terrible version of it. But like, you look at this and I do see a scenario in which like, okay, if you're going to have a licensed game, it probably can't be on there. And I think to some extent, I think that's also like kind of you scratch our back, we scratch yours. Disney's given them 2 massive DLCs for free for Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. They had the partnership for Dreamlight Valley, on Game Pass. Like, They're not above doing deals, but they're going to do ones that make sense.
Yeah.
They're not going to do them just because, oh, you want to make an Indiana Jones game. Oh, well, you want to make a Blade game. And you have this policy of it has to come to Game Pass. Rather, I think that almost opens the door up for you to do more third-party publishing. Because you're still going to have smaller studios like Stoic Studios who need a publisher who like, okay, you pay them up front for how many units? You give them like a $10 million budget or something. Mm-hmm. And there you go. Your game's going to come to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Like Towerborn. And that game is still going to move units on Steam because it's, it's a co-op game and everything else. Something like the Brass Lion game coming, it's their first game. It's the Wu-Tang game. Insider Gaming had a great report about that last week right before the Game Awards. Like, that's something that's probably going to come to Game Pass because it's their first game they're partnering with. But I think this opens up the door for maybe something like IOI. Maybe IOI's game isn't on Game Pass for the first 3 to 6 months, and then it comes.
Yeah.
Because they're an established studio. I don't like the precedence that creates. And I think maybe it's just something you use in an extraordinary situation, like you're partnering with Kojima or with Disney, or it's Elder Scrolls 6. Like... But I do think you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier where you said like, oh, all the Xbox Game Studios titles are going to come. I think that like any satellite studio, you could be like, yeah, they're going to like, you're making exceptions for like the big names. You're making exception for Call of Duty, for like maybe Diablo 5, like because these games are bigger than the service itself.
Well, I'm even just saying like, you don't even include like all Xbox Game Studios games come to Game Pass day one. I'm excluding Bethesda and Activision Blizzard from that. Like,
I'm not excluding those because they've made such a huge deal out of those studios being a part of it. And to backtrack that now looks bad. I think it looks less bad to backtrack a franchise that sells 30 million copies in a calendar year. And most gamers aren't going to be fazed by that. First off, they're still going to buy it no matter what.
Yeah.
But I think that, fans are just going to kind of shrug their shoulders and go, well, we had a really good run. We're still getting, like, in my case, I'd be like, I'm still getting, like, 80% of the games I want to play on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I got to go out and buy Blade. That's such a hard thing for me to do. And, like, I'm sympathetic to the argument of, some people can't afford to buy more than a couple games a year. Yeah, well, welcome to how every other platform in the world has done it. I see them moving more towards, like, making Game Pass still like what their vision is, but adopting all like for those partnership games adopting a PS Plus stance on those. Like they'll come within 12 months.
Yeah.
Now the problem, and this is why I say you got to use it sparingly, is because you can't just have people assume, oh, well, I'll just wait for it to hit Game Pass. I'll just wait for it to hit Game Pass. Mm-hmm. Like, no, you kind of want that window to be so long. And that's why I'm saying like an 18-month window, they're going to be forced to buy it because they want to play it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's also a way to ward off having to increase your price, because you do that and you have Disney games on there. Disney's going to be like, yo, we want a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
We need some scratch if you're going to put Blade and Indiana Jones on there. And like, sorry, that's not the place to burn down your service over those two games.
Right.
Like, you're not making an Avengers game or like KOTOR 3. So
yeah,
I don't know. So I kind of wanted to like just make that point as we get into these Game Awards reveals. Like, I think that's why you didn't see any Xbox. That's my conspiracy theory for why there's no Xbox branding on the Blade or OD trailers.
Yeah.
There was no mention of day one Game Pass, nothing. That is what I firmly believe, is that we are heading towards the future. And also those games are years out. Like I saw some speculation that maybe these games don't even make it out this generation. And I just like wanted to bash my head into a wall. Like, I really hope that's not the case.
I mean, Blade will. I mean, I could see Kojima's game taking as long as he wants to take on it, to be honest.
I think your other concern is you don't want to promise it right now to this current generation, because there's the Series S probably is not able to run these games. I would say Kojima's is going to sound like it's going to be flying to the fucking moon if you put that on a Series S right now.
Yeah, but isn't Kojima's game using the cloud in some kind of revolutionary way to where it...
Yeah, but I've seen how the world's infrastructure is for internet. If it really is going to rely on the cloud in the next couple of years, you're fucked. Like, they better be redistributing all of those Series X server blades that they had and point them just to Kojima Productions. It's going to be real bad. So I'm curious to see how this all unfolds. We'll see. We'll know by summer if my conspiracy theory is correct.
Yeah.
Because Indiana Jones is getting formally revealed in the next few months, hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, man, dude, Blade and Indiana Jones. I'm so excited for that Indiana Jones game, man. I mean, I know I'm in the minority here, but like Indiana Jones is one of my favorite franchises of like all time, you know?
I think it's like specifically is for like people our age.
Yeah.
Like, we grew up watching all the original films. We've been there through the good and the bad. The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, all the way to the Crystal Skull.
Young Indiana Jones is on Disney Plus now. Did you see that?
Young Indiana Jones is fucking great.
It has what's his face from Boondock Saints in it as Young Indy.
Yeah, it does actually. God, I completely forgot about that.
God, Boondock Saints, that was a time and place, wasn't it?
Try to forget about that time and place. You know what else had us really excited, Corey? Probably our second favorite announcement of the night behind the Xbox stuff. Sega.
Oh my god, dude, Sega. Oh,
Sega was there in a major way. So they have that crazy trailer in the middle of the show. This was what elicited the first shriek from me, was Jet Set Radio.
Yeah.
Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage are the first wave of the Sega Renaissance, essentially, being made for modern audiences. And the snippets of gameplay that we saw from both Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi looked incredible.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're actually going to make Crazy Taxi work in the 2020s, but here we are.
Oh, man, dude, I can't wait for Crazy Taxi. I love Crazy Taxi so much.
I'm very excited for those two in particular. I don't really care about the other three. I'm going to be totally honest.
Shinobi
Streets of Rage, I know, has a very dedicated fan base.
Yeah,
I don't care about the other two at all.
Yeah, but Streets of Rage 4 just came out a couple years ago. It's not like that's an extremely dormant franchise.
No, but if you're reimagining how it looks, like aka not having it be like a side-scrolling pixelated brawler, then I can understand.
Yeah,
making it something like more akin to like King of Fighters.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. They also showed up pretty big with Persona 3 Reload and a new look at Metaphor in the pre-show. Mm-hmm. Metaphor looks incredible. That is an early candidate for my most anticipated game of next year.
Metaphor is basically like a medieval fantasy Persona, right?
It's basically open world Persona.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Is what it looks like more than anything, because you can fight mobs in the open world, and then some enemies, when you start slashing them, it'll go into the actual like turn-based fight.
Mm-hmm. It's a little ridiculous that Persona's not open world, by the way, at this point.
I mean, when you look at how far apart those games are, it's actually not like Persona 5, we have to remember, was developed for the PS3.
Yeah.
PS3 and PS4. Like it came out 3 or 4 years into the PS4's life cycle, but still came to the PS3.
Yeah.
Like it's Persona 2 or Persona 3 all over again.
Yeah.
Persona 4? 4. God, I just named them all. Persona 4 all over again. Persona 4 came out in 2008 for the PS2. And by then the PS3 had been out for it was going into its third year. Like, and you couldn't they were no longer backwards compatible at that point either.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to have a PS2 to play Persona 4. You know, I've been really clear that I think Royale is one of the best games ever made. I'm super excited for this. This is being directed by the director of Persona 3, 4, and 5. I like that the trailer listed where like so many of their leads came from. Like they pull people who worked on the Persona series, on Nier Automata, on Yakuza. Like this is going to be a really, really cool game. I couldn't tell you what it is about though.
Yeah.
It's very Shin Megami Tensei in that way.
Yeah.
But this looks like the game that Soul Hackers 2 really wanted to be. And I just love seeing the Atlas logo at the beginning of a trailer and then the Xbox One at the end.
Yeah.
That is just something I never thought I would ever see.
Yeah. Crazy.
What else did you see there that you liked?
I mean, we've kind of hit them all. I'm really excited for Blade. I'm really excited for the Sega stuff. I mean, Nintendo didn't show up at all. I'm not.
No Rest for the Wicked? You excited for that at all?
Yeah, that seems cool.
From Moon Studios?
Yeah, I think
pretty stoked from that one.
Yeah. That game looks really cool. The God of War DLC didn't really do anything for me.
It didn't do anything really good. I did think it was really cool to announce that it was free, especially in light of the Last of Us 2 DLC not being free.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16 DLC announced and released on the same night.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought that was cool.
I have heard that the first part of the DLC is basically just a glorified side quest with a boss fight at the end, which is really frustrating because it's $10.
Yeah.
Classic Square Enix, though, right?
Right.
That's
another game I need to play over break is Final Fantasy 16.
Final Fantasy 16 is so good. We got a new trailer for Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I did not catch this. I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
They've done everything they need to do to sell me on that game. It comes out in 2 months.
That Mass Effect looking game Exodus seems interesting. But Archetypes doesn't really stand out as a studio that I've ever really heard of. So,
it's not. It's a brand new studio.
Yeah. But I mean, they have a lot of ex-BioWare people there, and
yeah, it's based in Austin. They're actually, it was very quietly shown on their website. It's a very tiny logo. They are actually a game studio under the Wizards of the Coast umbrella, which does not fill me with confidence, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not really jazzed about that. Don't like how invested Matthew McConaughey is to basically Interstellar, the video game. That was really weird for me.
He likes space. I
guess. It literally looked exactly like Interstellar at times, which did not fill me with confidence. There was one other game I really wanted to call out. Tales of Kenzra, Zao. That looks really dope. That's another game under the EA Originals label.
Yeah, that's the game that kind of looks like Prince of Persia a little bit.
Yeah, that game is going to be $20 when it comes out in April.
That's cool.
$20. I'm all the way here for that. That looks really cool. Usual June looked really cool. I like that one. That was shown in the pre-show. Visions of Mana is coming.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Visions of Mana, but I know a lot of people do. That's Pony exciting. Island 2, Panda Circus. That's going to be wild. That's the latest game from creator of Inscription.
Yeah. Rise of the Ronin looks pretty cool. That got a release date.
Rise of the Ronin. Yeah, that's going to be a March release. So that answers the question of is Sony going to release anything in the first half of the year?
Yeah.
That answered the question. Skull and Bones got another release date. We'll see if it actually makes it out.
All right, Josh, question. How do you feel about this Jurassic Park game?
I'm not even touching that with a 10-foot pole. You couldn't pay me to touch that game.
What about that Black Myth Wukong game they showed?
Also not a game for me, and there's a lot of controversy around how people have been treated at that studio. There's a lot of sexual harassment allegations around the studio. So not thrilled about that. Really not happy that hasn't been covered in Western media. Again, we mention her all the time on our shows. Rebecca Valentine had an awesome report with a reporter who covers that beat. So that was really cool to see. She put that out right before Thanksgiving, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty excited that Twisted Metal got a second season.
I haven't even watched the first one.
Oh my gosh, dude! It was just everything I needed at that point in time.
I saw two. There's 3 more games I want to touch on real fast here. Monster Hunter Wilds was the big final reveal. Like, what a world we live in that's the final reveal and not a Hideo Kojima game.
Right.
That actually kind of blows my mind that they did that and they didn't have Kojima just present Game of the Year after.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Wilds coming in 2025.
Yeah, I told our friend Laron is a huge Monster Hunter fan. I told him that he impregnated his boyfriend when Monster Hunter was announced, and he said,
"Jesus Christ!"
He said, "Maybe I did, maybe I didn't."
Unbelievable. I want to call that out. I want to call it Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. That's the next game from Don't Nod. Looks very Life is Strange-esque.
Yeah.
So pretty pumped to play that. And then we would be remiss if we did not mention Hello Games' newest game, Light No Fire.
Yeah, that game seems like a very one planet-ish No Man's Sky.
I do not have confidence in this game.
Dude, when he came out on stage, I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You're doing the same thing you did with No Man's Sky. just
that, and people were tweeting that at him. They were like, "Dear God, please stop."
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm glad you have confidence in your new game, but like, just stop saying words.
This was from PC Gamer. He says, it's based around procedural generation, but instead of multiple worlds, it's one singular world all players will participate in, with a truly open world that's bigger than the Earth, with more realistic features and denser content than the planets generated by No Man's Sky. And it is also more ambitious than No Man's Sky. Stop promising things.
Yeah. Let's tone it back a little bit.
I'm like, okay, dude. Okay. I understand how good No Man's Sky has become, but I don't like this trend of let's put a game out and hope that it's good, and then we'll just fix it if it's not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was that other game that they made though a couple years ago, the Last Campfire was pretty good though.
Was it?
I liked it.
I never heard anybody talk about it. I'm going to be completely honest. I remember it getting announced and then nobody talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. It's like
well, it also came out in 2020, so that probably explains why I don't remember it.
Yeah. It was it's kind of like a light Zelda-esque puzzle adventure.
We have Tunic at home. I'm just saying. Anything else that you want to hit on from here? Are you excited for World of Goo 2?
No. I'm just kind of scrolling through real quick just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I thought it was pretty cool that they kind of sort of shadow dropped Baldur's Gate 3, but
I love that the game director was so excited he forgot to announce it on stage that it's available on Xbox right now.
I know. I was
that was a deal Xbox made with him too.
Yeah, I was like, I saw like tweets go out like it's available now.
The trailer made it obvious to me. Like, even though they didn't say available right now, it literally said at the end, Xbox, it's time to party up, is what the trailer says.
Yeah.
Like, that made me go, yeah, it's available today. Why else did they make such a big deal about, hey, we're going to announce it at the Game Awards? Like,
yeah,
okay, they're totally dropping it. The only speculation anybody had was, did Microsoft fork out like $100 million to get it to Game Pass? Right. The answer is no.
Right.
So, non-shockingly, no.
Yeah.
After the court docs said they offered them $5 million a couple years ago.
Right. I'm like, yeah, man. Some of these other games though, man, like the First Descendant. And like Lightspeed or the Last Sentinel from Lightspeed and Exo. What was the Exo game? Exoborn. Like,
oh, Exoborn did fucking nothing for me.
I'm like, come, like I don't.
We get a couple of these every year. I feel like it's just Game Awards fodder to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say now.
No, it's rough.
Oh my gosh, these I don't want to say half-assed games as a service, but like, I don't know, man. There must be an audience for some of these games for for them to be coming out so many at a time. But anyways,
I guess.
Now I'm lost. What else are we?
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that's it.
Yeah. We do, Josh, need to acknowledge the elephant in the room that we have not talked about this entire show, and that would be the Grand Theft Auto 6 leak, then reveal, and then re-reveal.
That is one of the wildest 45 minutes I've ever seen in gaming.
Yeah.
I saw the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer for the first time with a Bitcoin ad over the top of it.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
This looks incredible.
I'm not a huge Grand Theft Auto guy, really. Like, I liked 4, yeah. Okay. I actually thought the Ballad of Gay Tony was probably the best out of the 4 trilogy of games / DLC. I did not finish 5 whatsoever.
I fucking love 5.
This game looks so incredible that I downloaded 5 to play through the campaign.
I think 5's story is a lot better than it gets credit for, and it's not because of Trevor. I actually think Michael and Franklin are both really interesting characters. Especially Franklin's story, I think, is really interesting. I'm really excited to be going back to Vice City, though, and I'm very excited for Lucia, I believe is her name, that we're going to be following. It looks like a very Bonnie and Clyde style story.
Yeah.
So very excited for that. This looks really cool. It really looks like the social commentary this time around is going to be based off of like social media and whatnot, specifically off TikTok. There's a lot of references to real life Florida people in it.
The tattooed face guy.
Yeah, the Florida Joker is there. Angry Karen is there. The guy fighting the crocodile in the swimming pool.
The car twerker is there.
The Tom Petty song was absolutely perfect for this. Although I'm not going to lie, I saw this trailer dubbed over with the original Vice City theme, and it was almost better. I'm not going to lie. It was so good. It's just like, yeah, like, I think for a lot of, especially a lot of people like my age, Vice City was our first exposure to Grand Theft Auto, because I didn't play 3, but I played Vice City. The kid down the street from me, his parents were going through a divorce, and his mom got remarried and bought him her and his new stepdad bought him Vice City for Christmas. And it was the best Christmas either of us ever had, because we played so much Vice City that summer. It was great. Yes, he got it for Christmas. We played it in the summer. They decided once we turned like 11, apparently we were old enough to like shoot hookers. I don't know. And then they got him San Andreas, which was a true turning point in our lives. Really, really cool. I was never a huge Grand Theft Auto kid, but I have very fond memories specifically of Vice City.
Yeah, Vice City.
Like I played a little bit of San Andreas. 5 is really like the first game I ever really engaged with. I mean, I was the right age when 5 came out. I was 21. God, I was 21 when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. I'm 31, Corey.
Yeah.
So, man, I can't wait. I'm very excited. I'm almost more excited to see how GTA Online evolves.
Yeah.
No PC release on day 1 with this one, which isn't super surprising if you know Rockstar's track record.
Yeah.
But I saw people going like, man, if this is a 2025 release, like, that's a little ridiculous. Like, nah, they want you. They're going to get you to fucking double dip. Some of y'all are going to be triple dipping on this game because they're going to put it out in 2025 for consoles. It's going to come to PC a year or 2 later, and then they're going to do the definitive edition as a launch title for the next consoles.
Yep.
Unless Microsoft just does smart delivery again, in which case that's a completely moot point.
Well, I mean, it's not. Was it that for Grand Theft Auto, though? Because both versions are on Game Pass.
GTA 5 did have an up-resed version.
Well, I know it had an up-res version, but did you have to pay for it?
No. I had to pay to upgrade the campaign, and that was it. They automatically upgraded GTA Online for you. The campaign, if you already owned it, you only had to pay like $10 to upgrade it. And like, I'll pay a $10 upgrade, whatever. Mm-hmm. For the most successful game of all time, sure, I'll give you $10 more.
Yeah. So I did download 5 because I kind of want to play it. Just I don't know, man. I've never been GTA guy, but this 6 looks incredible. Like the detail in like the character models looks incredible. Like for the size,
I can't wait. I there were a couple points in the trailer where I paused and I was like, I don't know if this is a game or not.
Yeah.
The girl on the rooftop is the girl in the rooftop pool is what specifically comes to mind.
Yeah.
But like, did you see some of the detail? Like when Lucia busts into the gas station, I paused and zoomed in on the door, and you can read everything that's on that door.
Yeah.
You can read every single sticker that's there, that's on the windows. The level of detail that Rockstar did to this is just amazing. And this game is still like 16 months away, probably.
Yeah.
I've got this somebody had found this, like this date was that we got the trailer on was, or that we were supposed to get the trailer on rather, where they moved it up by a day, was in some post or something a year or two ago, something like that. And one of the other codes that people had deciphered was April 1st, 2025. Mm-hmm. So like I've said for a little while, I do think it's going to be an April release. I don't think they're going to release in September again.
Yeah, GTA 4 was an April release.
Yes. So. GTA is the one franchise in the world where when you drop a game, everyone's just going to clear like the 3 weeks before and like the month after.
Yeah.
You're going to have like 2 months to yourself, and one of those months your game isn't even going to be out.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I'm very excited to see what Rockstar has cooking. I was not a huge fan of Red Dead Redemption 2. So as someone who's spent a lot of time in GTA 5 over the last couple of years, really excited to see what happens here.
Yeah, can't wait. This looks awesome.
Yeah, the latest installment of maybe like probably one of like the 4 or 5 most influential franchises ever.
Yeah,
in games.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I will say I'm interested to see how certain people review this. There's already a call specifically for coverage leading up to it and when it comes out to have Latino and Latina reviewers be able to give a pass at the game. And I do think that is important cultural context. Just like I think it's really important that when we talk about Grand Theft Auto to get women to chime in too, because guess what? Guys aren't the only ones who enjoy these games. And I always think back to the GameSpot review of GTA 5 where, I think it was Carolyn Petit wrote the review and did not give it a perfect 10 out of 10, gave it like a 9.8 or something. And was like, or like a 9.5 and was like, I simply can't give this game a 10 out of 10 because of like how like horrible this game is about women. And it really truly is abhorrent at times. And I remember all the like death threats she got over that. I'm like, oh yeah, well, can't wait to see how that works with social media being what it is now. That's going to be joy and happiness for all of us.
Well, I'm excited either way. I think
there's nothing like a Grand Theft Auto coming out.
It's just like a pinnacle. It's just like everything stops, you know.
Yep. It's one of the I was saying this
it's like when Halo
Tears of the Kingdom
out.
Yeah. It's like I said this when Tears of the Kingdom came out, like everything just kind of stopped for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Everyone played Tears of the Kingdom. Like Baldur's Gate 3 got Game of the Year, don't get me wrong, and a lot of people played it. Everything stopped for Zelda.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, things stopped for Ragnarok last year for a few days, but like
not Sonic.
Zelda, a new 3D Mario, a true like Odyssey style Mario, and like Grand Theft Auto. That's what the world stops for in games. And it's funny because Zelda until Breath of the Wild was never considered like one of like the like best sellers and like of all time. Like it's just always been critically acclaimed. So like the whole industry would stop.
Yeah.
Now the whole world takes notice.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really, really cool, really special thing that's happened.
Yeah. Anything else, Josh, besides these Game Pass games?
No, I think that's it. I think mercifully that's it.
Yeah. By the way, the day after we released the episode, the last episode, we got Remnant and Remnant 2 Shadow dropped on Game Pass, so you guys should go check those games out. But coming to Game Pass on 12/12, which is the day you're hearing this, 10 Hearts is coming. And then on 12/14, Far Cry 6 is coming. Leaving Game Pass on the 15th, Chained Echoes, Opus Magnum, Potion Craft, Alchemist Simulator, and Rubber Bandits are all leaving on the 15th.
None of this does anything for me. I'm going to be honest.
What?
It was really hard to top Remnant 2 Shadow dropping.
I know.
Far Cry 6 would have been welcome like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they're just, I don't know. Ubisoft seems to be all over the place with their subscription
Ubisoft
stuff.
is really weird.
So
they accidentally released Beyond Good and Evil remastered.
Yeah, how do you accidentally release it?
Like now we all know it exists.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's funny.
Well, Josh, I think we did it. I think we did it too. Anything else? I don't have anything else.
No.
I hope everybody out there. This, by the way, I don't remember if we said at the top of the show or not, but this is our last episode of the year. We'll be back on January 9th because I doubt we're going to record on the on the 1st to put one out on the 2nd. So I'm just going to safely say we're going to be back with a new episode on January 9th. Hope everybody enjoys their Hanukkah, their Christmas, their Kwanzaa, any of the other holidays that you celebrate. Josh, hope you have a happy holiday. Where can we find you?
Josh_Finn on Twitter, 2 N's as always. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a Game of the Year stream probably on the 27th is when that is tentatively happening. And then I'll be spending the 28th drinking beer all day. Also on Twitch. So I'll tweet out both of those. Yeah, I'm doing Beermas. It's an annual beer share that I do with our good friend Ray. And a couple of his friends, Sherb and Skullcat. So we'll be doing all that, probably playing some games during it. Of course, we've got one more Tower Casuals coming this week on Thursday. Talk about the Dawning. Other than that, we'll be back. Like Corey said, we'll be back January the 8th with a brand new episode and some Game of the Year talk.
Yeah, send in your games of the year and your thoughts on the year, and
yeah, feel free to tweet at us, message us, hit us up we have the Tower Casuals Discord. Which I know this only pertains to Destiny fans for the giveaway part, but come join us to talk about anything. We're talking about all the games that we're playing right now. A lot of us are forming up groups to go hit things like Remnant and Baldur's Gate over the holidays. Nice. A couple of our friends in there are doing a giveaway of some emblems for Destiny, so swing on by. Corey and I have even been told that we can participate in this, so we may be able to win some of these Bungie store emblems. So come on through. We're having some great discussions. We're having a good time, and lots of games over the holidays.
Yeah, lots of games. I think I have a list of like 10 to at least play. So
at least.
You can find me at I am Corey HD on social media. Join the Discord, and hope everybody has a happy holiday. And we'll see you in 2024. Goodbye, everybody.